so much for coming out on a cold, rainy March evening. I'm Allison Mizuguchi, the principal here at Wayland High School, and as I was sharing with some of you, tonight sort of marks the beginning for us of the transition in earnest of ensuring that your students, our rising ninth graders, have as smooth and meaningful a transition to the high school. And we've sort of got one foot in both worlds right now. We're trying to support and launch our seniors who are heading off into the great wide yonder, and we are looking forward and thinking more and more about having your students here with us next year. So wanted to extend a very warm welcome on this cold evening. We don't have a remote clicker in this space, so we have a... We might. And if not, we have human beings who will do the work. So this is a big number, right? Can we say 2030? Yes. Whoa! Oh my goodness.
Stand here and point it at my... We had this in a PD the other day, but Hannah found a way to... You gotta stand a little closer. Maybe a little closer.
This is going to be part info session, part stand-up comedy. Anyway, I also want to say hello to Waycam. Thank you so much, Maya, for being here. Waycam is actually live streaming this, so hello to folks at home if you're streaming. And we're also recording this, so if there are things that you would like to see again, like that little exchange, we will make that possible for you. So here's, you're going to be meeting some of these people tonight. And learning a little bit about what we do, but we're going to start with a little bit of introductions. We think it's really important for you to know who we are as people because you're going to be entrusting your children with us for the next 4 years, and it is quite a 4 years. It's a journey of so much change and growth and excitement. This is me. I'll share with you a few tidbits about myself. I've been here for a really long time. I've been here basically my entire career. So I started as a brand new English teacher in the English department in 1997. And and I have learned and grown so much in this wonderful community. I have 2 incredible kids, ages 16 and 20, and I'm from San Diego, and so I love beach and I love the Padres. And okay. And I love. Yeah, we got a Phillies fan over here, so that's can always count on Ed. Okay, so that's who I am, and we're going to keep moving along. And tonight, actually, this is sort of the info part of the evening, right? We want to make sure that you leave here having a good sense of who we are, of the experiences that your students are about to have, that you feel confident that we are ready to support your children in their growth. You'll have a chance to take a tour with some students of our space so you can envision what your students' lives will feel like and look like. We want to certainly answer any questions, and then we will close out the evening in the library where you'll have an opportunity to speak one-on-one with our department heads in case you have any curricular questions or things like that for them. Away we go. So we thought we'd start with this slightly scary slide because it actually offers, and we're going to send all this to you guys, so just to sort of map out, like, where are we in this process? And it is a process that is thoughtful and gradual and entails a whole lot of handshakes and outreach with our amazing friends at the middle school. So right now in March, what is happening around now is that teachers are providing course recommendations. They're thinking about your students, about their experiences here at the high school. There's some scheduling pieces that are going on, and there's ongoing communication throughout the spring between the high school and middle school. A lot of meetings, a lot of collaboration and conversation about your students' needs, individual needs and collective needs. In June, we welcome the entire 8th grade class here for a couple of hours where they take tours, they meet some people, we do a little rah-rah and send them off into the summer with a real feeling for Wayland High School. Then we welcome them back at the end of the summer for an orientation experience where they're the only students on campus. They have a chance to roam and feel comfortable, meet their teachers, they're an advisory, they get their schedules, and then we roll into the school year. And yes, it is happening. You have a 9th grader in September, okay? But right now you have 8th graders, and they need to experience and feel the joy of closing out their middle school experience. We don't want to rush that too. So our colleagues at the middle school provide such an amazing sort of launch for your students as well. All right, so who we are, and this is sort of how we sum it up. We are values driven. We tie everything we do here to our values, and it's very much about centering your students within every decision that we make, okay? And it is a very, very dynamic time to be a student and to be an educator. So much is changing in the world, and we want to be as responsive as we can. So keeping things centered in values, make sure that we are being responsive to the world around us. We also want to make sure that we're providing a rigorous experience for your students in terms of their academic learning, in terms of their skills building, in terms of how they're relating with other people, so they are most prepared for what's coming ahead after high school. While we do that, we want to make sure that there are multiple layers of support. That support looks like a million different things, and we'll talk about some of these things tonight. These are our amazing department heads. I don't think you guys knew we were going to put your faces on the slides. These are some of the folks who will be downstairs to greet you and to answer any questions that you have. We are so fortunate to have, and this is really the leadership cabinet of the high school on a regular basis. We are meeting with department heads, with program directors, and many other support staff and the administrative team, and really drive the growth of our school and ensure that we are supporting your students. We'll start with a quick statement about sort of, this is a school, right? So it's about teaching and it's about learning, and we really wanted to make sure you understood that yes, the jump from middle school to high school from an academic standpoint can feel for some students like a rather large jump. We will support them, and again, we'll talk about some of those pieces. We wanted to highlight that we are constantly growing as professionals around the curriculum and instruction that we are providing your students. That is where our department heads are so critical in terms of making sure we are on top of the latest studies and the latest growth in the field, that our curriculum is relevant and responsive, as well as rigorous and challenging your students to think new thoughts and to do things they've never done before. We have embedded a lot of our focus in identity, social justice, current events, what is happening in the world. So they are gaining not just academic skills, but also a mindset around engaging with folks with differences, how to have good conversations with people they disagree with, and what does justice look like. We have done a lot of work around removing barriers to excellence and access in our higher level courses particularly, while maintaining strong supports for students, particularly those who want to challenge themselves as they grow and learn through their 4 years of high school. Maintaining high expectations for every student is a critical aspect of what we do. And when we design our curriculum, when we design our learning experience for students, we want to make sure that those learning experiences are accessible by every single learner. So those are sort of our guiding principles regarding how we are teaching and learning your students. All right, I'm going to turn it over to one of our two assistant principals, Mr. Sean Gass.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sean Gass. These are some pictures of my life, I guess. I've been here for 7 years, and before that I was an administrator in Salem. I was a principal of the upper school at Salem Academy, and before that I was living in California. I have two kids. One of them's in middle school, so I was always afraid of middle school for my entire life, my entire teaching career. I was like, I'm not going to middle school. I can't do middle school. That's crazy. And now I have a middle schooler, and I'm still afraid of middle school. So that's a little bit of it. Where I am and where I'm from. I have two kids, and I live over in Medford, but I spend probably the majority of my life here in Wayland. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do, how we focus on belonging here at Wayland. Belonging for us is an incredibly important part of your students' experience. We want our students to feel like they belong, to feel like they know someone here on campus, an adult who cares about them, someone who connects with them, and where they feel like their experience is valued. It's not a program that we do, although today we had an amazing program here at school that was all about belonging and trust and building some of this community that we have. But it's something that we try and have in every part of our day. One of the things we do, Laura, could we go to the next slide? One of the things we do for belonging is we have a lot of different groups at school. We have over 50 clubs that are active at school. And when I say active, like this place at 4 o'clock, you could, like almost every classroom is still full at 4 o'clock with some club meeting about something. Either it's debate team or mock trial or robotics is actually 20 feet from us right now using power tools. So there are places for every kid to find a sense of belonging here at school. We also we've highlighted a couple of clubs here too that have to do with our students' identities. And so we have clubs that are centered on what students are bringing to school and who they are as people. I get the wonderful opportunity to be the club person, the club administrator, and so I get to meet with all these kids that want to start clubs, and it is one of the coolest things here. I actually had three club proposals within the last 2 days, which unfortunately I have to say you have to wait till September. It's a little bit late, but the one that I did get through is a baking club that was all focused on baked goods for teachers. And I said, we can slide that one through. Just look the other way on that one. But there's something here for everyone. And we start off with a club fair early in the year in September. And there's some place here for everyone. And we want to make sure that you know that. And also that when your kid gets here, you kind of push them a little bit with that. Find your spot, find your club, find your interest, and find your people. Because they're here and they're ready to grab your kid and make them a part of our community. All right, Mr. Buffa, you ready?
I'm ready. All right, my name is Ben Buffa. I'm the head of the counseling department. This is my 16th year at the high school and my 3rd year in the role as the head of the department. This is my wonderful human family here on top, and then my fur family down there on the bottom. We have 3 cats, a dog, who I'll talk about a little bit later. And then we actually just got our most recent batch of foster kittens a couple nights ago, so we have 6 cats in the house right now, which is honestly not the most cats we've had in our house. So, but it's pretty cool. Yep. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit is some of the supports we offer at the high school. 9th grade is full of new and exciting opportunities. There's a lot more freedom and responsibility, but as Allison mentioned, it is a big jump. There's a lot more rigor. We really put the onus, or we start to shift the onus to students to really self-advocate and reach out for help when they need it. And as you see here, that can be challenging sometimes, right? Especially at first, students may not think they need extra help. They might not want to ask for the help. But when kids do finally reach out for that help, they are met with so many supportive and welcoming people here who are really excited to help them. We're lucky to have such a supportive environment here. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit is some of the core support structures that we have here at the high school. Teachers is last. It probably should be first because, again, teachers really are one of the most important supports that your student will have. Again, we have teachers who go above and beyond here, bend over backwards to give your kids really amazing support, and it's just to be part of a community like that's pretty wonderful. So they should be on the top, but we save the best for last. Up at the top, though, we have counselors. So each of your students will have a counselor for all 4 years, the same counselor. And we really like for people to look at us as their go-to people. So if you don't know where to go for help, if you have questions, you're not sure what to do, we really hope that you and your student will turn to us and come see us. If you need help with your geometry homework, we're not going to help you with that because we don't know how to do that. But we can certainly connect you with people that will. If you're a little nervous to walk over and see the teacher, whatever it is, we're here to help with that. Counselors will also work with students. We have grade level seminars each year. We do academic advising, future planning when the time's right, a lot of social emotional support. But 9th grade seminar is really the kind of one of the big pillars of support that we offer to 9th graders. And I'll talk a little bit about that on the next slide, but each of your students will have one of those in their schedule. It'll meet once a cycle for the first semester, and there's a lot of different things that we do to kind of facilitate the transition for your 9th grader. On top of that, we have an advisory program. Your students will actually meet their co-advisors during the orientation in August, and those are 2 advisors who will stay with them again for all 4 years. A lot of opportunity to really get to know kids over time and kind of develop those relationships over the course of the 4 years. They'll meet every day in an advisory setting, and then we have some extended advisories as well. And those are when we can talk about larger issues going on in the school, have more in-depth conversations. Those happen there. And there's also a series of caregiver conferences in the fall. More information will be sent about that, but you'll get a chance to meet with your 9th graders' advisors, talk to them, share information about your student, how they're doing, concerns you have, and that really helps us make sure that we're clued in and know how to best support your students. Next, we have study halls and academic center, and you're actually in the study hall right now, so this is where the majority of study halls happen. They're not usually this crowded, but they can get busy a little bit. We really, for the first semester, your student will be in study halls anywhere that they would have had a free block. And the goal there is we really want students to start developing the right habits early. They can meet with teachers during those blocks. They can meet with counselors during those blocks. They can also head to our academic support center during those blocks. And sometimes students decide that, the study hall can be helpful, but maybe they want a quieter, smaller environment that's a little bit more conducive to focusing and studying, that has teachers in there, that has peer tutors, and we're fortunate to have something like the Academic Center, just as a general support for all students. There's executive functioning support in there, organizational support, test-taking strategies. There's really a lot of great stuff in there. And so if that's something that, if you're nervous about your child making the transition and think they might benefit from a little extra support, that is something that we would strongly encourage you to reach out early so we can help get your child plugged into that. Then we have peer leaders, and actually, you're good. And you'll actually hear some of them out there soon. Once this is over, we'll have a handful of peer leaders here who are available to give tours if you'd like them. We place peer leaders into the 9th grade seminars, and so it's really nice because we know we have a lot of important information to give, but the kids much rather hear it from the peer leaders themselves. They do a really great job kind of giving the student perspective, giving advice about the transition, classes, all of that. And I don't know if you mentioned it, Allison, but counselors will be heading to the middle school next Wednesday, and we'll be meeting with your 8th graders in math classes. That's the kind of the official start of the transition work that we do with kids. And we'll be bringing peer mentors with us for that too, so they can answer questions. And it's a fun day. It's a whirlwind. Your kids will probably come home and not remember anything that they heard, but we generally hear from kids that they really appreciate the day. So, and then we can go to the next one for seminars. So this is a random assortment of some of the topics that we talk about in seminar. And I think the best way to think about it is it's kind of Wayland High School 101. It's helping kids get acclimated to the high school, learning about the bell schedule, how to access support. We define the role between middle school and high school counseling because there are some similarities, but there's also some key differences. And then it transitions into a couple study skills lessons led by our academic center coordinator, a social emotional lesson led by a couple of our adjustment counselors, our administrators to kind of do a end of quarter one check-in with kids. And then there's some information technology and literacy lessons that kind of take kids through the second quarter. And then finally, the most important support, these are our therapy dogs. So you probably know Archie and then Gruff. Gruff is my dog. Archie is Officer Bowles' dog. They were both trained through AAT's MASS, which is a certified therapy dog licensor in the area. Gruff is usually here a couple days a week. He's in the counseling office primarily. And then Archie's here, I think, during advisory and during lunch, if I'm not mistaken, most days. And if you are lucky and get to see Archie and Gruff play together, it's awesome. They become really good friends, and they like to roughhouse, but kids get a kick out of it. So we hope that your kids will come down and see them, and truthfully, we have a lot of parents that come see them too, because they're awesome. So that's my piece. Again, we're super excited to welcome your kids. And again, we hope that you and your kids will really reach out to us and partner with us, because we want to make this as smooth as a transition as possible. So, are you back on? Cool. All right.
All right, so he gets the puppies, and I get to tell you about our bell schedule. Awesome. So we just want to give you a little bit of a heads up of what your students should expect when they come to school for a day here. And I promise this is going to get sent to you. You do not have to remember all of this. By the time your kids are seniors, they'll remember all of it. Our students follow an 8-day cycle. So letter days A through H, and we have 8 periods that rotate through those days. At most, they attend 6 classes in a day, and then we have advisory that meets every single day. It's a very short period, but it meets every single day for just 7 minutes. Students have most 9th graders will have multiple study halls. Some will only have one, but they'll have a study hall or some sort of supportive block at least a few times a week. And then 9th graders earn independence as they get to second semester, as long as they've been able to stay on top of their work, as long as they've been able to, show good attendance and haven't made any particularly dicey choices in their conduct over the course of the year. So then once they get to second semester, all those study halls are removed, and then they get to have some freedom and they move around the building. Then they're like students in the wild, and we can observe them differently. So students typically have 6 classes, including wellness, and then a lot of our kids participate in sports or clubs or part-time jobs, things like that, and volunteer after school. So the next couple slides I show you are going to look big and scary. Oh, whoops, never mind. I get another good one. Okay. So advisory. Ben mentioned this a minute ago, but advisory is a place, is a group that your kids are going to be in for 4 years. They're going to get to know their advisors really well. There's 2 advisors in every advisory. They meet for just 7 minutes a day, so it's short, but then periodically we have longer advisories. We actually have one of those coming up tomorrow to debrief the assembly that we had today. So advisory is a place where they build strong relationships, they have a home base, they discuss issues when things happen here at school or happen in our community. That's the place where we would discuss them. We are sort of constantly developing advisory, and it's responsive. So they have a set of slides every day that have a group of questions. There's different types of discussions every day. It's really a nice space, and your kids really get to know their advisors really well after their 4 years with them. All right, so this is that big scary slide I was mentioning. This is our rotating schedule. The colors just are to show you how the days follow. And we have 2, we have afternoon session, afternoon rotation and a morning rotation. So for example, like period 4 rotates in the morning, it never rotates in the afternoon, okay, but it's at a different time each day. We have the rotation, so you can probably imagine it allows us to fit more classes into the schedule. It also means that you don't see the kids at the same time every day. And if you know your kids, like I know my kids, like after lunch they are different human beings than they are at 9 in the morning, right? So they're just changed drastically, so we get to do that. Advisory does meet every day during that short block of time. It's widened a little bit there. We actually take our daily attendance in advisory. So advisory is very important for kids to go to and go to on time. And that's where we take attendance. So this is a sample schedule. This is what one of your students may have. So on an A day, they might go to the Academic Support Center to get some extra help in the morning, get started on their work, go to math, hit advisory, go over to Spanish. English takes 3rd lunch, so they go to English for 2 sessions, and then they have lunch, and then they have wellness and biology in the afternoon. When they rotate into their art class the next day, they'll go to art, then they'll break for lunch, and then they'll go to the second half of art, okay? Like I said, it's perfectly clear, it's very easy to follow. First day, they all get it. But that's kind of the basics of what a day in the life would be for a 9th grader. We want to make sure that you saw that because it's one of those sort of technical things that your kids are probably thinking about and worrying about. Like, I'm signing up for these classes soon, and my teachers are telling me what to take. What does that even mean? So that's kind of what it's going to look like for them each day, okay? A lot of them, I'll just be honest, print this out exactly as you see it here for themselves and tape it to their laptop and carry that laptop around with them, probably for months before they figure out every single day and where they're going. But it does work. All right. Mr. D.
Hi, everyone. Ed D. Horatius, Mr. D, or Coach D to the kids. I'm the girls varsity soccer coach as well. I'm the coordinator of the ICP program. ICP stands for Innovation Careers Pathway. It's a program the state started maybe 10 years ago or so. But essentially the state identified kind of high need and or high interest areas of study that they wanted to sort of recognize and encourage. And so we have 2 pathways, and I'll get to those in a sec, but this slide, and Mr. Gass already alluded to it, is the makerspace, which is right across the hall there, full of power tools, group work. You can see sort of supplies and materials, work tables, 3D printers, there's a laser cutter, woodworking tools, there's a welding machine. I don't think that comes out too often, but it is there. Robotics is not officially affiliated with the ICP program, but they do sort of make liberal use of the space, and we're psyched that they do. This is kind of the home base for the business and finance. You're good, you can go on. This is sort of the home base for the business and finance pathway. So we have two, business and finance and information and storytelling. The business and finance, obviously, as you can tell, focuses on business, but there's also sort of a math component to it. So that's kind of for kids focused in that area. Information and storytelling is a little more humanities based. Journalism is kind of the backbone, but we have a lot of arts involved. We have a sports broadcasting program that's part of that. So those are the two pathways that we sort of offer. The way to think of it is a little bit of an overlay on a kid's existing schedule. So for the most part, the courses they will take for the pathway are courses they might take anyway, or courses that kids not in the pathway are already taking. You can also think of it as sort of like a low-grade college major. So giving them a little focus, a little direction in terms of progressing from one course to the next in kind of a given track. To complete the pathway, you need 4 courses. The middle 2 of those courses, as I said, are kind of regular courses that really anyone will take or might take. The 2 kind of things that distinguish the pathway, the intro course, so for business and finance, that's the intro to innovation course. That happens in the makerspace across the way there. For the information and storytelling, that is the communication studies course. So that is the intro course. And again, your kids are welcome to take those courses and not be part of the pathway, but they are the sort of first step on that pathway or on both pathways. And then the final thing is the capstone experience that they generally do senior year. It is a 100-hour project of some sort that takes a lot of different forms. It could be an internship. There are 1 or 2 existing courses that fulfill the capstone experience. It could be a self-directed project. Kids have started businesses, they've built things, there are all sorts of things. So the capstone is nice because you can really tailor it to your kids' particular interests. All right, next slide. So that's kind of a basic overview. The QR code is to the website that I just sort of finished about a month ago maybe. It's about 90% done. You probably won't notice the parts that aren't done, but it will give you kind of the basic information about the pathway if you want to check that out. My email is here. The name is a bit of a mouthful, as you can see. I think it will auto-populate even for non-high school students if you just start sort of typing it in. And there's a short link up there that will get you there. My email is also splashed all over the website. I will be downstairs in the library, so I'm happy to answer any questions there, and I'm obviously happy to have any conversations or talk via email if you have any questions. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Cole, and I'm the assistant principal that's assigned to work with the class of 2030. Can't believe we're saying 2030. There's not futuristic cars flying yet. So a little bit about myself. I'm local. I grew up in Natick. And my career started at Lincoln Sudbury, where I was a substance abuse counselor. And then I became the department head, and I decided I think I want to be an assistant principal. And I found my way to Wayland, and I fallen in love with this community. I've been here for 7 years. I have 2 children. One is in the district. He is a 3rd grader at Loker. His name is Cody. And I had a daughter named Cecilia in April. So I'm back from maternity leave, and I missed my kids and my people. So I'm so happy to be here. I switched the slides up so everyone's looking at me. She switched the slides. These are some parents' nights that are coming. So if you want to take pictures, Special Ed has a parent night that's coming. That will be on Zoom on April 9th. And then the next slide. These are the parent organizations. You're going to hear there's Kappa is downstairs. I don't know if PTO is, but they will be here in the fall. These are some organizations, parent organizations you'll hear a ton from. And they do a lot of wonderful things for our students and for our community. We have a student athlete night, and this is usually in June, and we always do a to be determined night because of playoffs, so we don't know where things will fall, and we don't know which athletes will be available. So this is in early June. It's a great opportunity for your student to come on campus and see all of the different athletic opportunities that they have. There is a focus on fall sports because those start in August. So there'll be a lot of information of fall, how you register, and a lot more probably representation from the fall sports there. So right now we're going to kind of give you a student perspective in the next few slides of asking, we ask students, what have been what are the themes, what have been the biggest parts of your transition? And so there's some quotes up there. They're fun. Don't be scared, take your time to read some, but the one thing that students are going to tell you when we ask them, like, the first thing they say, like, what's the biggest difference from here in middle school? We have a lot more freedom. And we start breaking down, like, well, what does that freedom mean? To them, it's, I can go eat lunch for 10 minutes and then I can go to the library, or I can go to the field house, I can go to the turf, I can sit in the courtyard. If by second semester they're kind of hitting their stride and they have free blocks, it opens more for them, right? That's an opportunity where they're not having an adult at the beginning of study hall say, take out your materials. The expectation is they know, all right, I have to kind of manage my time right now, all right? And students love having free time, and it's great until it isn't. And if it isn't, you'll work with your counselor, your assistant principal, and we'll figure out ways to support your students so they're academically successful here. Increased academic rigor, you're going to hear, there is a difference. They're coming from standards-based grading to letter grading, different expectations. Teachers have different syllabuses, have homework expectations that might be different. They might have 2 tests in a day. And that is something they're going to feel. And that is where you reach out to those resources with them. You're going to say, hey, we're going to work on this independence. I'm going to sit with you. We're going to email your English teacher because you're really stuck on this paper. And your English teacher has a writing center block that you can go to, and let's figure out how we can get you with them. So there's increased academic rigor, but there's a lot of support built in. But these are the common themes that we're hearing from students when they come up here. They're going to have more homework. There's going to be different assessments for them. But we really try to guide them through that. And I will say the teachers in the first quarter do a really good job setting expectations and take the time to say, this is what we need from you. The other thing that students say is the expectation is we learn to advocate for ourselves here. We take initiative. I think the last slide, someone said the classes are hard, but take them. Take journalism, take business, take the hard classes because it's going to open your eyes to something outside of here. So it's hard, but do it. And that's that self-advocacy and that initiative we're looking for from students as they get through here. And I'm telling you, the 9th grader you have that comes in the fall, you will see them in 4 years and they will be really different. I'm with the seniors right now and I'm looking at them and I'm like, wow, you're really different in a really good way. And that's because they bought into my program, but, but that is something that they will be different as they go through these experiences. I'm going to tell you, let them fail. Let them have that productive struggle. It's gonna be so hard. I do it all the time. I watch my kid, I'm like, all right. And the other day he looked at me and he said, Mom, I got it. He's 8 years old, I got it. Just let them get it. And if you're worried that they don't have it, pick up the phone and call me, call Mr. Buffa, Coach D, call an adult and say, can you help me figure out if they have it? Because really my goal with your kid is to start pivoting the relationship so then they make a mistake or they need help and they're in college or life after this world they leave, they pick up the phone and they say, I need help. Because that's the goal. We want them to align with you. So that's where we hope to take them by the time they leave here. These slides are going to be sent to you, and you might have some more questions about quotes or anything. Reach out to me. I'm always here.